back of my car last night to get everything set up for today. So
Oh, geez. Okay. Well, good luck in the move. Hope it all goes smoothly.
I appreciate it.
All right. Well, let's take a look here. So, how's practice been? Obviously, been a
Um,
while since our last review.
Yeah, I saw dramatic improvement after our coaching session,
Good.
and I've gotten coaching from like two other people since then, and I've
Nice.
seen not as much improvement, but I'm assuming that's just because you were the first time I ever got
Yeah.
coached. So,
Yep.
but I've seen improvement. I'm Plat 1. I did hit Diamond 5, but then I deranked again. But I've seen good improvement. I'm pretty happy. And I just want to like get your opinion on like kind of where to go next. There was a point like a couple months ago where I felt like I kind of was just standing like just in the same spot, like
Yep.
not really moving much. So I just kind of want to get your opinion and see what
Sure.
I can do to keep going.
Sure. Sounds good. Sounds good. I mean, I think that's always the toughest thing is it's like continuous improvement requires, continuous application. So I think, it's about finding about like with the amount of time and the effort that I have to give right now, like where do I think my ceiling is, right? And then trying as
Right.
best as you can to hit that ceiling just for your own sake of personal growth. So, okay. So Soldier Cassidy, obviously, rank wise, more knowledgeable how to play and what I should be doing before and after fight. So this obviously we haven't really had an invoice review, if I remember correctly. I don't think it was an
No,
invoice.
yeah,
No,
no.
that's right. It
Last
was
one
just a
was like the
replay review,
30 minute
right? So
one. Yeah.
so I'll zoom through the form here, and if you have anything that I go over too quickly, or if you have any questions, just let me know.
Okay.
Um, 2 hours on weekdays, longer on the weekends. Okay, so how is that time spent on the weekdays?
So typically what I'll do is I'll play like a one unranked game just to kind of get into it,
Mm-hmm.
get warmed up, and then
Mm-hmm.
I will majority of the time play comp pretty much the whole evening.
Okay, sounds good. Sounds good. Have you tried other warm up routines, or is that just mostly what you've stuck with?
So I have done a couple workshop codes. I did used to do Kovacs beforehand, but
Mm-hmm.
I would find a lot of the time I would want to skip or I wouldn't do it, and I just wasn't playing as much. And I know you've said it, and other people have said it more. Just like playing the game is what gets you better. So I
Sure.
didn't really want to spend 30 to 45 minutes every time, going between everything back and forth just
Yes.
to be able to play. So
Certainly not efficient either, especially with the amount of time that you have, right? It's all about
yeah.
efficiency here. So here's what I would recommend. I would recommend trying for a period of time, loading into an unranked deathmatch if you can.
Okay.
Um, or even in your case, because you're playing hitscan, are you familiar with the Vaxta code?
Yes. I'm not sure if that's one that I had used or just seen.
Okay, so that would be something to try out along with the deathmatch.
Okay.
And it would be the same thing. I would aim for 10, 5, or really 5 to 15 minutes,
Okay.
depending on how you feel. And the big thing is, I want you to just try this. This is not gospel. See if it works. See if you enjoy it
Okay.
better. I would say it's probably more productive and more efficient than your unranked current warm up. But if it's
Okay.
something that you don't enjoy near as much, then if you're having a hard time being consistent with it, I'd rather you just play the unranked quick play, to be honest with you.
Okay. Okay.
So that's something to try. I personally really enjoy deathmatch. I like that better than quick play for warm up. But that's my experience. That might not be yours. So go try it
Yeah.
out, and if it works for you, great. If not, it's not going to be a big deal. Just trying to be as
Okay.
efficient with your time as possible.
Right.
Okay. And then obviously you're playing for a longer time on the weekends. So do you take breaks during those play sessions? You just mostly just kind of sit and chill.
Um, I no, I know I probably should take breaks. It's actually something I've been thinking about while I've been like remodeling the house and stuff.
Uh
I find like pretty great improvement. Like even if I just have a bad game, if I just get up and like do something
huh.
else for just like I mean just a couple minutes, like I feel better and I'm less heated and I don't take that into the next match. But pretty much everything in the past has just been like just grinding, like just sitting in front of my computer
Mm-hmm.
as much as I
Okay.
can. But I realize that's like you said, not as efficient. So.
No, it's not efficient. It's not productive either. So what do you think would be a reasonable low bar to set for incorporating some of that into your weekend
Just probably getting up either after every match or like every couple matches or something like that, and
play?
just like doing something or just doing something and getting up to kind of reset
Sure.
and do that.
So let's set the bar low. Try taking short 1 to 5 minute breaks Could even be layer queue, right?
Right.
Between every few games. I wouldn't say between every match because that's probably optimal, but that's probably not a reasonable bar to set right now.
Right.
But just try keeping an eye on it and taking a few more breaks. We want to build good habits, but we don't have to rush it. Okay, makes sense so far.
Yeah.
Okay, and then that's just Soldier Cassidy. That's all you play.
Yeah, it's definitely a pretty much just soldier now. I definitely have fallen off Casti.
Got
I'll
it.
like play him if they have like ball or something, but
Okay,
like not
sure.
like I used to.
Okay, sounds good. Goals long term to hit Grandmaster. Maybe possible with the amount of time that you put in. I think it's you definitely have checked the lowest amount that you could get to Grandmaster. It's possible with what you're doing. It's just going to be a little bit tricky. So like for right now, I think just address the warm up, try the warm up thing, try
Right.
taking the breaks. Let's see if we can get you some feedback, some goals to work on, and see what happens.
Right.
Be good at the game and have skills that will carry over to other games and in life. Okay, so what skills in particular come to mind, or you're not particularly sure?
For like video games, just aiming, game sense is
Hmm.
obviously more dependent on the game, but just like I don't know, positioning. Just I have even seen it just even after our coaching session. If I go to play another game, I'm better than I was before, just because I've put thought into like Overwatch. It like carries over to other games. It doesn't transfer 100%, but
Of
uh,
course.
I just feel like I'm genuinely better after trying to like learn so much about Overwatch, and so like definitely just skills like to just be better at video games, and then like life skills. Like I like watching like a lot of your videos where you like talk and relate a lot of stuff to just life. I feel like like as stupid as it sounds, like I feel like I legitimately am a better person after like trying to like learn Overwatch. Like I feel like it has like taught me a lot and just like how to navigate situations, and
Good.
like I feel like I'm better for it.
Good. No, I feel the same way. This has been the most productive job I've had, and a lot of the things that I use in my coaching are things that I learned while I was trying to get better myself. So I'm glad to hear that. Okay. What do you feel is holding you back from improving? Maybe understanding in some mechanics. I do lack some knowledge, but I'm also not as quick with looking at my cooldowns and tracking ultimates. Okay. And I feel in general I'm not as quick as high level players. All right. So I like that you're being specific with that, right? Like the looking at your cooldowns, tracking ultimates. To be quick, you have to be automatic.
Right.
To be automatic, you have to be cognitively engaged until those skills are automatic, right? Just like
Hmm.
when your 1-year-old's learning how to walk, there's a lot of brain work involved in that walking until the walking becomes so easy that there's no brain work almost at all involved. It just happens. And so the challenge, though, is that I think everybody says stuff like, game sense, but what is game sense, right? It's everything. It's positioning and tracking cooldowns and
Hmm.
anticipating the enemy moves. But for you to improve your game sense, you can just play the game, but you also need to be very specific about what aspect of your game sense do you want to improve. You kind of have to.
Right.
It's like when you look at Overwatch as like this big giant puzzle, right? You ever dumped out those like 2,000 piece puzzles, and
Yeah.
you just like immediately just want to quit? Like you're
Yeah.
like this is way too complicated. So what do you do? How do you start?
Focus on one particular area
Right.
and
Focus on the
go from there.
borders, right? Or you find like colors, or that's an eyeball right there. And I think that's like the same skin color there. So I'm gonna group those pieces together. Or like I said, start by building the frame, because a corner edge, right? When you see it. So you
Right.
got to start somewhere. And you might grind there for like, an hour just to get 10 pieces stuck together, right? But
Right.
eventually things start to snowball, but you have to start somewhere. And I think a lot of people get overwhelmed and they just say vaguely, oh, I'm not very good at doing puzzles, but because they've never really applied themselves to any one aspect of that puzzle. Because
Right.
if you start with your positioning and with your cooldown tracking or your ultimate tracking, or or thinking about where's the enemy team or where's my team, if you start with something, you give yourself a framework to anchor yourself on, and then the next thing that you learn becomes easier. The next thing you learn becomes easier, and you might even start to accidentally learn things, right? Like I
Right.
learned when I started to focus really really well on like where's my team positioned. It actually helped my off angling a lot because it like when I was thinking about like where my team is positioned, I kept like accidentally taking off angles because I was so focused on like where they were that I would accidentally remind myself to off angle at the same time. So stuff that like connects with each other, but you got to start somewhere.
Yeah, I feel like when we had talked last, it was a lot about moving and positioning, and you talked a lot about using soldiers' legs and his
Yes.
rockets, like shooting them at the feet. So like
Yep.
I've thought about that pretty much every time I play him. Now, in particular, it's like looking down at the cooldowns. It was actually I remember from a video you had did where you said when you were coaching, you guys used like an eye tracking software, and
Hmm.
like you saw that like in the bottom right, they were always flicking down like right
Yep.
after like a fight. And
Right.
like you were saying, like it's not automatic for me. So like I want to get better at like that in particular because it's definitely got me killed a couple times, or like I look really stupid because I just keep spamming like right click or rockets and they're not available yet. So
Yeah.
I'm like, what the
Yeah.
hell? So like I
Yeah.
want to be able to look and do
Do you
that.
find them better than they used to be though when you were gold?
Yeah, definitely. And I think
Right.
that's what's so hard too, because I, am still so hard on myself, but it's like a month or two ago, I would have been happy to be where I was now. So it's
Right.
like, I just kind of have to acknowledge that I am getting better. And like you said, it's a process. So
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's important to be able to positively reinforce yourself because it's not just about being like, oh, a sweet, nice guy and be positive. Like that's corny. It's just because if all you are is hard on yourself and there never is any release or relief or just being honest with yourself, this is good, I've improved, then it can be very discouraging, right?
right.
And it becomes almost it discourages you from actually improving. So it's like you need to be objective. I've improved at that. I've ranked up as a result. So there's a lot of gold soldiers out there that look at me like, how does he do it so? How is he so fast? Like, how is he so quick?
Mhm.
And you're like
Mhm.
that with like the high diamond players and the masters, and there's always a bigger fish. But be honest
Yeah.
with yourself. So okay, so we'll look at what aspects of your game sense that you could work at. Mechanics. Obviously just playing the game, and then maybe the warm up thing will help a little bit as well. Maybe not really that big of a deal. 7 hours of sleep per night on average, not bad, not bad. Uh, could always be better.
Yeah, it's probably like 6 to 7. Seven's probably right, but yeah, sometimes it's
Okay.
hard to want to go to sleep.
I got you. I got you. All right. I'll just quietly bully you, and then we'll move on from there. I don't really have I don't really have anything else from your forum. Do you have any other questions?
uh, no, none that I can think of. Let me check my notes. I thought I wrote something down, but
Sure.
let me see here. No, I guess I didn't. So yeah, nope.
Okay. Well, what code do you want to start with here?
The King's Row one. That one is, I think
Hmm.
it's a good back and forth. The I like to try to get my codes the day of, just so it's like the most recent thing. And I was like
Smart.
really stressing, because I haven't played the past 2 days because we've been moving, and my hands hurt so bad. And I was like, oh my god, like I'm so stressed. Like this was like got like at like 9, so I was like really worried. But this one I think turned out the best. The other two codes, like it's just kind of areas in particular that I just felt built silly for.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Okay. I guess we'll take a look then. So situated. So you said particularly talking about like awareness of your cooldowns a little bit has been something that you maybe have noticed that you've improved at, but maybe not quite as good as you would have liked. But is there anything else that you've been working on recently that you can come to think of?
I mean, in particular, like I try to be like I think I have gotten better with aim. But
Hmm.
I like I wouldn't consider myself like that's like my hobby or anything like that, but I definitely like to like learn a lot about aiming and like just like practice like good mechanics. I'm like kind of I like mice and like mouse pads and stuff.
Hmm.
So like I like that aspect of that, and I'm sure I'm gonna cringe pretty hard when you slow down the replay and my aim's really bad. But I would say I've been working on my aim a lot and like my grip on my hands and like trying to hold my mouse a
Good.
certain way.
Good. Nice. That's good to hear. I think things like that are mechanics are underrated in the educational community. We tend to be like, oh, poo poo mechanics, oh, you'll just practice it better. But I think like putting some thought and effort into it is definitely helpful. I'm glad to hear that. Okay. Any questions or anything else before we just jump right in?
No, I can't think of anything.
Okay. Let's take a look. Audio here. Like this initial positioning. Don't like it if they were on like a Widowmaker, but I think it's probably pretty reasonable. Like this rotation here. I was going to say you see Hanzo, right? And you're like,
Yeah.
crap. Now this is where Soldier really shines, right? So we talk about most DPS characters have aspects of their positioning that are relatively static, where you want to pick an angle and you might need to change it depending on how the fight goes, but Like if you're playing Ashe or Hanzo or even like a Widowmaker, that adjustment can take a little bit of time, right? Go
Right.
from angle A to angle B. But as you could probably see here, this is exactly what makes Soldier really strong, is that you don't have to take any time. Why is that powerful?
'Cause I'm able to just switch my position and catch people off guard because I
Right.
wasn't there and now I am.
So he's like, crap, I can't peek that angle.
Right.
He's here. Then he sees you gone and says, well, I want to swing wide to punish this diva. Well, problem with that is that now you come right back onto it, right?
Right.
And I think that's a really, really powerful thing. Now, one thing I want you to be aware of, this is a micro detail, but it's incredibly important. Soldier is a very consistent DPS character in terms of like the value that you provide, but you do have spikes in value. And that spike in value is tied to the cooldown that you just used, that Helix, right?
Right.
Healing Station is also a spike for sure as well. But you take this angle right here and you see exactly where I'm going with this, right?
Right.
Whenever you rotate your position or rotate an angle or take a flank or just take a 1v1, you need the Helix.
Right.
Because it's a little bit hindsighty here because you're like, oh, well, Helix on the Hanzo, that was value, But you kind of have to understand that using something for value here and then using something for value here are two very different things. One's pressure, one's a kill.
Right.
Right?
Yeah. If
So-
I had the Helix, I could have got
Right.
the kill, but I wasn't able to since I did.
So any time that you expect yourself to be taking a 1v1, or any time you expect yourself to be taking a deep flank, what should you do with Helix?
Save it and
Save
open.
it. Don't open with it, right? Keep it in. Now you should probably use your Helix as often as you possibly can when you're not going for these crazy assassinations or when you're not going for these 1v1s. But whenever that's something that you're going to be going for, this is a problem. This should be a kill.
Right.
Still a good play. It's still a great angle, and I really like your positioning. But it hurts.
Right.
Next Helix. Obviously, no real threat of a 1v1 immediately, so just use it. That Helix
that was
misses
a-
just a little bit. It's fine. I also think that at this point in time, it's probably better to just have rotated a little bit sooner. So as soon as you sense the enemy team putting a lot of attention on you, it's like right now, how many people are looking at you? Right. As soon as your Diva's demacked, right?
Yeah, the whole team.
The whole team, right? So this
Yeah.
is where you don't have to take any fight that you don't want to as this character, right? So just disengage. Now, what would you rotate to here? What would you do? Give me something that's low risk. Give me something that's high risk.
I mean, would low risk be like rotating to the further high ground and then
Sure,
like
just
or-
disengage, kind of, right?
Yeah, or maybe like going to the stairs like behind me, like under,
Mhm.
or
Grab the mega and just sit and wait.
that's the
Go-
low risk. Yeah.
Actually now that I'm thinking about it, because initially I was like, oh, this is the high risk play, they could push you over here, but I'm actually not really sure what's high risk here. I'll say this: grabbing mega and sitting on the flank is OP. Because like maybe you come right back here and rat him. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Throw a Helix and try and one shot somebody. Worst case scenario, you can also just totally disengage, right? Run back to your team this way.
Right.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, don't overstay your welcome. There's 7 people looking at you. It's just like, unless you have a chance of getting a kill, which I can pretty much clearly see that you don't, it's not worth it.
Right.
Run away, reset up, go back in again. Because you got to see that you're like, oh, I stayed on the angle. But I mean, think about it this way: you could still be here and actually killing this Hanzo at Mercy.
Right. Yeah.
But instead, you were like, I want to stay, and then you almost died. You should have died, and then now you're inside your backline. So
Right.
when you disengage faster, you re-engage faster too.
That makes sense.
It's just a question of whether, do I have a chance of getting a kill here? If not, there's no point staying. And also, where you don't get grabbed.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. Initial positioning, very good. Rotations outside of that last little bit there, also very good. Healing station was fine. If you were going to stay, I mean, obviously you had healing station that, right? So that was fine.
Right.
So let's see what we do here. So here is another situation where like, where could you go here? Now, obviously, you got to worry about Hanzo. So, what do you
I
want?
mean, the only answer is like to the right, right? Like,
Right. Yeah,
like
but
the
then where
opposite
from
to
here?
right?
Right. So where from
You
here?
could go on the flank, or I could take the high ground up there, and be able to
You
shoot
know?
him there.
Sure could. Now you would have to sit and wait and hide. right? But
Right.
they don't have any flanker to chase you down. Kind of like we were talking about, like I go Wrecking Ball or I go Cassie if they're on Wrecking Ball here, but there's nothing like that here to stop you from doing whatever
Right.
you want.
Yeah.
I wouldn't even be playing this game. This is a dangerous game for you, right?
Yeah, I never. Yeah, it's literally like I have no chance, and he has like 100% chance, like just one shot.
Right. It's bad gambling, is what it is, right?
Yeah, I didn't even think about the flank to the right. So
Mm-hmm. Now this is where Soldier's tricky, where you really only have the one flank, right? And not even that flank isn't very good, right?
Yeah.
So how will you manage this? Let's actually wait till the fight kind of breaks out here because you guys are just staggering here. So let's actually wait. Okay, well this is you're not exactly helping the problem here. Okay, you know what? Yeah, we're not going to get into the fight. That's a disaster. Okay, let's just pretend that your team actually fought here. All right. So we're talking about maybe taking this right flank here. So how would you approach this strategically? So whenever there's not really a good angle or flank that's not like super risky, what do you do?
So if there's not a good one, but it's not risky, is that what you're saying?
Well, if it is risky, it's the only angle, the only flank, and it's super risky. But there's another position here. Check this out. What if you didn't start in high ground here, or what if they were on a Widowmaker, right? And you had to play and flank through like here, right?
Yeah.
What would you do?
Like for back here or up there?
Here. Let's start with here. I'm giving you another example of where a situation like this might happen.
I like maybe like just to the right, like to where I have more cover, or
Sure.
I'd wait for my team to engage and then take the riskier, like kind of
Sure.
like just off angle.
Sure. I like that. Really, you can combine those answers. Think about it.
Okay.
So you're going to start here. You're going to try to avoid peeking Hanzo and just shoot tank for a little bit, right?
Okay.
Then look for that mid-fight pressure from your team, and you're going to do what I would call really what you did earlier on first point defense, a soldier dive, where you take a flank, you throw a helix, and you burst somebody down really fast. Remember when you re-rotated back onto that soldier, but you didn't have helix, right?
Yeah.
Think about that in this situation right now.
Yeah.
Now your team isn't here, so it's kind of irrelevant, but just like for the sake of thinking about it, right?
Right.
This is perfect. Now you would not be able to sit here and hold because the damage boosted soldier or the Hanzo would just snipe you out, right? But this is still using your burst, your legs, your helix, right? It's something that not a lot of the other DPS would do. Even a Cassidy who would love to do something like this would not be able to do it as quickly as you. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So when you can't hold an angle and just like you're getting sniped out, play like a dive character. Play like a Genji dash, but you got a helix instead, right? And then you go for the burst. Maybe you do. What happens if you fail on the kill? What do you do?
Just run away.
Just run away. We're going to go right back, take conservative angle, shoot from main. You still distracted them. You still force CDs. You still pulled attention. And then go back and you get to conservative value. And then you try it again a little bit later. Does that kind of make sense?
Uh-huh.
Okay. That's something that you can absolutely do with Soldier. Alrighty. Let's keep going here. That is one of the fastest caps I've ever seen in Kings.
Yeah, no, it felt great.
I can imagine. Looks like we got a saucy one, though. You guys, looks like you guys cap it too.
Yeah, I was like, originally I was like, God, what a waste of time. But then like we did okay too. So
right. I will play just a little bit of the psychologist though, and think about you saying it's a waste of time, and look at how many things we've had to talk about even with this.
that it's true, and I'm sure the couple games I played that I didn't use codes for, there would be a million things to do like that too. I don't know if it was you or someone else that said they'd prefer a game that is like close but you lose.
I think that's just the general consensus for replay codes. I don't really care about wins or losses personally. I just prefer something close, but yeah. Okay. I mean, night and day with the Helix. Seriously.
Right?
I mean, this guy really, if you were a little bit faster with the shots here and didn't shoot him in the butt cheeks, I think this guy's dead,
Yeah, or didn't put down my heal peg. My mercy was right there. I didn't need to.
That's all right. It's still value, though. I mean, you still win the fight off of this.
Right.
Look at that. Beautiful. Nice job. Didn't even need to rotate to high ground. Just blew him up. That was beautiful. Absolute domination. That's a time bank for sure. Wow. And the same kind of thing here, right? Like you think about this and you're like, you're not going to be able to stay here, right? So
Right.
you're going to get spammed out. So then what is this?
So it's that kind of like soldier dive, but
Yeah, it's a soldier
like
dive.
not quite a dive because I'm just on high ground. So
It doesn't really matter how you classify it or where you place it. You could have a soldier dive like from on high ground on the flank or from forward. It doesn't matter. What I'm talking about with the soldier dive is it's a burst of value, and then
Okay.
because you can't stay, you immediately get out. This is a soldier dive. This is fine. At least this is how I'd classify as one.
Oh.
Now the only potential problem here, it's not a bad thing. You just got to be aware of it. Is where's your team?
Right.
Right, so-
Yeah, they're not.
So you can roll the dice here if you'd like to. Just do it really quickly, but you can't stay here at all. Everyone's going to look at you instantly. Nice. You see how close you got? But just don't stay. You see, you got this ego here. Maybe not an ego, but just like, I'm like, oh, I land the helix. He's low. He gets healed. You're gone. Like, do not repeat this.
Right.
Because you're going to get sonicked. You're going to get smacked. Like, even like, there it is,
Yeah,
right?
You're exactly
Right.
right.
Right. It was, but it's like, it's just, even if he had missed every shot and you had managed to get a kill out of it, you have to play the odds, right? You have to try and think about things from a reasonable standpoint. It's like if a kid crosses the street and doesn't get hit by the car, doesn't mean crossing the street's okay, right? So it's just, there's just nobody from your team here. So then what would you do differently here? What would you do differently?
So after the first one didn't get the kill, I could, which I do later in the game, rotate all the way left and like go kind of like behind them. I could do that, or I guess I could go like low ground, but that one doesn't make as much sense.
So when would you soldier dive? When is the best time to soldier dive, as we've established?
When like mid fight.
Okay.
Yeah, there we go.
What about
I
now?
did it.
What about now? What about now? You see this?
Yeah.
You could listen to me. You could peek the exact same angle. Just peek it now.
Okay.
So you just did the soldier dive. You failed. Unfortunately, that's okay. Now, instead of peeking and spamming and spamming and spamming, just hide. Heal station. Hide. Wait for your team. Okay. Do it again. Now, there's risk with that, right? There's risk with that, but just do it again. Or you could do this. I don't really know which one's better. I think this one's probably makes the more sense, but sure.
Well,
and you also
this
timed
was
this one
the
really
issue
well.
with- Well, this was the issue with this one though. I found like I did this a couple times, and I just like they weren't there when I would go to do it, just with the way that it was. Yeah, you're exactly right. I don't know.
It's okay. These maps are just very, very specially designed to enable this kind of stuff. So just kind of keep that in mind.
Damn, I was right there the whole time. Yeah, and I was like, yep, just nothing. So
That's all right.
So funny.
Little tweaks. It's little
So
tweaks.
funny.
That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. That's all right. And then now you can't repeat this because you see how bad this feels, right?
Yeah.
This is a fine soldier dive position, but you can't stay here. Okay.
Right.
Tracking. Nice. That was good. Seems okay. All right, here we go. Maybe a teeny early,
Okay.
just a teeny bit early. Because it ends up being okay-ish, but you didn't know that. You didn't check.
Right.
You'd waited for your Sigma just even to start trading with the Saurian now. Now this makes a lot of sense.
Okay.
I would also visor this personally.
I don't know if I do or not. I forget.
Like I see this, she's cooked.
Yeah.
She's cooked. One kill advisor is enough. That hurts my soul, but that's okay. That's okay. The funny thing is you start so clean. Like let's just enjoy this. Freaking DeFran out here, So that's all right. That's all right. I knew that dragon was coming. I knew it as soon as I heard it. I was like, all right, it's coming right up here. That's all right. That's all right.
Yeah, so I guess I should have just visored there because you're
Take the
saying
kill.
one kill is just
Sometimes
better
0 kills is enough. Like if you get a good angle and they all panic and hide and run and split like rats and use a bunch of CDs, which is going to happen if you have a good position. It's great pressure. is great pressure. It's not that powerful of an ultimate, so it's just zoning value. You will win a lot of fights just using a visor that kills 0 people. But certainly 1 kill is enough.
Okay.
Even just to win a 1v1. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Okay.
So whatever, we just destroy them and they do much. So, that's always the best moment there.
And here I remember I wanted to get to the other high ground because I don't like this one because I think I wanted to
Like this one here?
No, across like the
Oh,
walkway.
here.
Yeah, I wanted to get up there, and I spent I think too long thinking about how to get up there, and I was just like, okay, I guess I'm gonna stay here.
Fair enough. Even this feels like it would be scary to stay here for a long time.
Yeah, I knew they just pinged Hanzo, so I knew he wouldn't peek again. But then I accidentally fell down, which I do so much, and then he direct hit me with the Helix. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. See, I just feel like this is just not playing to your effective range as much versus their composition. Right. I think this would be where you could even run something like this and do a soldier dive from back here.
Yeah.
Maybe with a visor. I mean, they might put a lot of resources in you, in which case you might have to run away, but it's worth considering. Okay. Soldier gaming. This is going to work, I think, unless Hanzo logs you, because this is mid-fight. Nobody's thinking about soldier right now. Should work. Yeah. I would have liked you to have gone for the Mercy.
Yeah, so I started with the Hanzo because I thought he was the biggest threat just because he could one-shot me.
That's true.
But are you saying that it would saying that it would be better to hit the Mercy first?
Yeah, I would probably say Mercy then Hanzo because res, right? So it's always a chance that she can just res behind cover, and so yeah. Nice shot. All right. Again, you're going to have some problems here, right? Same kind of thing as the defense, right? Where, you could do a soldier dive here, but you can't really stay here. You honestly kind of need to stay on main. And then mid-fight, look for, once again, stuff like this. Now you can actually, this angle's okay here, but you could also do a little 3-2-1 sauce, right? Go for something here.
I don't know why I was actually going to bring it up, but you just said it. I didn't know, like, this is a problem. Like, I like King's Row. It's probably my favorite map, but on attack, like, I never know how to, like, position myself on this last point. But I don't know why I didn't think about just going the left side.
Let's say the fight's happening on this corner here. What do you do positionally?
Like, swing right or stay main?
Start here. Stay main, and then go for a soldier dive here. And depending on their composition, you could maybe hold this angle. If they have the sniper, you probably just have to go like, blam, run away, right? Go back to main.
Yeah.
But there's value there. What if they're fighting on this corner here?
Do I go left? Is that what I should do? Or do I
don't know if you can go left. Right? I think you get shot, right?
Right.
So do you do kind of what you did here a little bit of a peek here, right? Or you just shoot in main. What if the fight happens here? Well, we already know what to do there, right? Hold the single here, or you can go for the deeper flanks and then just go back to shooting on main. You're noticing that on a lot of these trickier maps, the flanks are still there. You just might not be able to sit there and just cozy up with a heal station for very long. It's kind of like we said, that soldier dive.
Dive is for, yeah.
Soldier dive is for it. And that also goes to that second point as well, right? Where we were struggling to know what to do here, but this is where this is good. Or, you could legitimately go all the way around behind and do something like this. Or you could go this flank through here, right? You familiar with this flank? Right?
Yeah.
You could helix that one there. You might not be able to stay here for very long, depending on the situation, but it's an option. And as long as you have your helix, probably your healing station, you're probably good to go. Okay. Nice cap. Not near as fast as theirs, but SR.
Yeah.
Still good. Any questions so far?
No, not really.
So what are you seeing before we keep grinding away? What are some things to keep an eye on?
To better utilize the soldier dive, I think I knew what to do beforehand, but I had all the tools. I just I guess if it makes sense, the blade wasn't sharp enough. I was putting maybe more work into it than I needed to. But if I just kind of do what I was doing, but just reposition more, then it would work.
Sure. I mean, as we've already shown that you do have the capability to do the soldier dive. You're aware of it. Even just this repeat on the soldier here, right? but it's about consistently applying it when the positioning isn't good, and preferably doing so with Helix. Like here's another soldier dive. I hate to keep bringing it up, right? But you rotate up top here.
Yeah, no, it makes sense.
And you just go blam, and you try to burst this guy out, right?
Right.
Now, once he gets healing, he might just spam that door frame, and you might not be able to stay there for long, but it's an option. It feels even bad to use it as like some special, cute, crazy thing, because really it's something that you're going to be doing a lot on soldier. It's just it's the bread and butter of your character, really. Quickly reposition, go for a burst. Quickly reposition, go for a burst. Nice. So you could even sauce it up, right? So right now you probably don't need to go for a soldier dive. You could just shoot tank. But like, let's say that you didn't or couldn't. What would you do?
Go further right, like take that.
You could even go all the way back here. Just go for something saucy, right? Like again, you're gonna know it when you see it, right? When it feels like I can't get value by sitting on an angle and putting pressure on tank, then you need to go for something crazy like that. Right now, you're fine. You've got great. There's nothing that can contest you. You're just totally chilling. You don't need to do anything. Like let's say when this Widow peaks, right? Well, now this isn't gonna work anymore. So don't ego this.
Okay, that's
so instead rotate. Now you're gonna have to be careful because she's gonna know you're coming. But I would rather take my chances doing this than playing her distance, her range on her sight line, right?
Yeah. That makes total sense.
This is better reward for the risk. Okay, but really nice job. That was a good fight from you. You did a good job.
I think the soldier dive really like answers like a lot of the time I'll find myself like holding an angle or like waiting for the next fight to happen, and I'm like, is this what I should be doing? Is like what do I need to do? But I guess it's just be quicker, reposition quicker, soldier dive.
Take bursts of value rather than consistent value if that's what's available, because you're going to notice that like versus the Widowmaker, the consistent value when peeking her sightline is gone. It's extremely dangerous. However, that character is a lot more fragile. So she's a lot more vulnerable to that soldier dive. You see what I'm saying? A Winston, Wrecking Ball, Diva, Reaper, those things will punish you really hard on flanks if they catch you. However, you don't necessarily need to go for dives. If you can hold an angle to shoot them in the front, you're going to murder those guys, right? So you see that's how Overwatch is balanced, right? Characters that have a lot of mobility will punish you for taking flanks, but they don't have very good poke. So you can sit out and poke them out.
Right.
Soldier dive is really just utilizing your mobility more than your poke. That's kind of what it is. Like right now, for example, that Widowmaker is peeking you, right? So what do you need to do?
Reposition.
And we don't even need to ask where. You know exactly where you need to go.
Yep.
It's stressful. Even the Pharah is stressful. I mean, that's what makes Soldier very good versus Pharmacy, is because compared to other hit scans, you are significantly harder to track. Cassidy is way better than you. Ashe is way better than you at actually killing the Pharah. But when Pharah is spamming on main, you just materialize right here. Right?
Right.
This is what makes Soldier spec. We just talked about this on stream not too long ago, actually. Okay. You see, this is miserable.
Yeah.
I mean, this is miserable. And you see this? You do know what you're doing. It's just maybe not consistently applying it.
Yeah, I don't think about it until you said it. I didn't think about it like that. So I guess like I was saying, like I had everything. I just didn't know. Like it changes the context in which you think it.
Exactly.
Maybe I'll recognize to do it sooner, which will lead to more kills.
That's the big thing, right? We want this to be an instinctual decision, but when it's failing to be an instinctual decision, when it should be, we might have to think about it a little bit more until we train those instincts up. Like right now, you could legit. I mean, it's unfortunate that you gave yourself away, but I think here, you're scared to keep rotating. Don't be. You could legit just run into their spawn, heal station, and just seriously, like, just pull them out. Play almost like a tracer at that point, right? Because like that's what your strength is versus this comp. You're not going to outspend a Pharmacy.
And I knew it right there that like I just didn't think about rotating further because I knew running back she just has I'm in a straight line. She's just going to shoot the rockets at me. So if I would have rotated further, then we'd been fine.
Take that. Keep going. Don't do this. She will win this. She will make your life absolutely miserable.
So much easier for her than it is for me to win.
It really is. It really is. It's equally skilled Soldier, equally skilled Pharah. Pharah wins that one 9 times.
Right. All she has to do is just splash the rockets in there. I have to peek and do all the dangerous stuff. So
Yep. We don't even need to look at it anymore. And I will say that the only thing I would add is that if you really do feel like this flank isn't working, don't forget that there's still this angle that you can wrap around behind. You can wrap it
Right.
all the way around behind this way. Very difficult for them to stop you. Okay. Let's keep going here. The key thing for you is to recognize when those situations are necessary, and then also executing them properly by your CD management, whether that's usually your Helix, but also Healing Station as well. And also just choosing what is the best flank. Like right now, for example, you're going to have to soldier dive a lot, right? You cannot hold this angle here. It's hard when they're Hanzo. It's even harder with the Widowmaker. It's fine for now. I mean, this is where you could sit here for a little bit and poke. Okay. But then as they walk forward, if that Widow grapples to here, you know?
Right.
Ooh, okay. Remember, if you'd like to, this is still here too.
Yes. I actually, it was brought up like in chat from a teammate. They were like, "Soldier, you do have that flank through hotel," and I was like, "Yeah, I completely forgot that was an option."
Yeah. It's not a very good option sometimes.
Right. She ends up killing me like a couple times on high ground, and I just keep going to it because I was like, "There's no other choice on what to do." But there is always another choice. I just wasn't thinking about it.
Not the flank that you're used to taking a soldier, because most of the time it's too close to the Maze and the Reapers and the Bastions and the Torbjorns and the Ryans, but those are not on the field right now. So it's your ability to adjust, and I think that's what makes soldier quite good in Overwatch 2, actually, is because that flexibility is very important. You know, the ability to just meld a tank isn't as useful, with the exception of Bastion. But yeah, like obviously here it's like, you know, this is not too bad because you've been able to comfortably poke out their tank without peeking their Widowmaker, right? So this has been actually okay. But this is also another circumstance where it would not have been too bad to do something like this too.
Yeah.
I actually don't think that you've played too badly in this defense. You've had good spam tank value, but I guess it's a question of if that had been denied, what would have your response been? And I'm not confident that it would have been the correct one.
Right.
Okay, we've got more time. You want to look at another code?
Yeah, I mean, I guess we can do. Actually, let's do the Route 66 one. It's really only in the beginning. I was just getting shut down and getting pretty frustrated. Because I didn't know what to do, and I couldn't get past the like first like little area here. They held us forever.
I was gonna say it's the same hit scan.
Yeah, I played with I played with pretty much like the same people all morning.
Interesting. So, is there any particular section where you struggled, or is it just kind of the whole VOD?
It's this whole like first couple minutes. Like I just die over and over again up here.
All right, self-coaching time. You ready?
Yeah.
What do you think?
Reposition. Like probably go like maybe low ground. I don't know. Might like swing far right.
Could be. Sure. What would you do from far right?
Try to kill their healers.
Sure.
Or their supports.
What would you need to do that well? What cooldowns would you need?
Need my Helix rocket.
Yes, and you'd also need good timing, right? So
right.
Half of your Orisa's push. Now would be a good time. Helix plus damage potentially there. I actually think that option is still here too, right? Because if you think about it, obviously the on is a little scary, but you could still do the exact same thing from here as well.
Right.
That is actually a wild Sigma shield. I'm not gonna lie.
I know they must have been queuing together.
I do not think it's good. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, looking back on it, it's just totally my position.
You're soldier diving, but then you're staying, and then you're getting crossfired by an Ashe and Ana and everything along those lines, right? So, you know, this is where you would go, okay, I'm good. Where could you go right now?
I could honestly push probably further back. Like if I go left, I could probably go back here, get an angle.
Sure could. There's always a risk doing something like this versus a Sombra, but there's also the risk for her as well. I think it's worth. Yeah, I 100% agree. It's the first thing that came to my mind, and you came up with it almost immediately.
Oh, yeah, but I take the low ground.
Now you can shoot tank here comfortably. But the question with soldier is always, is that the most effective use of your time? And then obviously the positions that you have to put yourself into. Maybe not so.
Right.
So then once you're here, where could you rotate? Like, let's say you did fall off. Where would you go?
Would I still not go far right, or would I go bottom left and go out?
The answer is yes, either one, really.
Yeah.
Like, really, either one. You heal a station here. If the Sombra has to go through you and you sit in your heal station early, it makes it pretty risky. Now, that little bit of micro here versus the Sombra, if you're very certain that she's going to engage in, like if you took this left flank here, right, and you know she's around here, there's nothing wrong with proactively using your heal station.
Okay.
Or having it on a hair trigger. Like the second that you're ready to like immediately use it, and then obviously like once that heal station expires, then immediately disengage. Or if you've hurt her elsewhere, it's fine. But yeah, okay. But I think the problem with your positioning here is that you're struggling with which angle to take, and then you're not taking really any angle,
right?
Or not a very good one. I mean, can't really stop that. That's just a wipe. Okay. It's. That character is unreal. Every time I watch Sombra play, I just have to sit and laugh. It just cracks me up. It doesn't matter who you are, GM1, Bronze 5, they make some of the goofiest deaths ever.
It is funny watching like high level plays and like games and stuff, and like seeing some stuff where it's like, really, you died to that?
Yeah. Well, it's just so easy to make a mistake with the character, So yeah. It's like, okay. This is just not great. It's like it doesn't feel great. It's Sigma shield, it's Sigma spam. He's cutting you down. It's like it feels like you've been bullied a few times because you've struggled with your positioning, and then now you're stacked on main again. I think this is where it's very easy to just completely shut down mentally, right?
Right.
But remember, every single time you get your butt smoked, it's an opportunity to practice something, to figure it out. Because like you got to look at this as like the puzzle analogy, right? Where it's like this is a 15 million piece puzzle, right? So even if you get full held here, are you going to waste your time, or are you going to learn something?
Right.
Right. At the very least, get some reps on dueling Sombra on a flank, or like I'm going to see if I can actually take this angle, or is this angle any good, or I just get like smoked, or like what about my timing, right? So don't waste this time. If you're going to lose the match, don't waste it.
At least learn something, yeah.
At least learn something.
That makes sense, because I was getting like super upset, but then I tried to take a step back and like calm down, because I wanted to like reflect on what I could do, and I knew I couldn't do that if I was upset. So
yep. She just gets like absolutely Mike Tyson. Oh dear. Okay. By the way, small thing on a Sigma shield, Winston bubble, anything like that. You don't have to be scared to helix set.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, because it's a lot lower in HP, so that helix hurts, right? That helix hurts. Okay. That 120 damage adds up pretty quickly. That's a relatively low cooldown for you. So unless you're anticipating taking a 1v1 or doing a soldier dive, which you aren't right here, right? Use it.
Well, and even by the time, like if I went to move, if I shot it now, I'd most likely have
it. I wouldn't necessarily use it on a Rhine shield or Ram shield, because those don't always going to break. Maybe a Rhine shield's okay, but like don't hesitate to use a cooldown here. I even sometimes virus a Winston bubble once he uses it immediately, just because it's a relatively low cooldown, and also I know that like that the faster that bubble is permanent, right?
Right.
Okay, she's getting dove. I was like, why did she die? Oh, she got dove by Winston. Okay.
Yeah, and then I think we end up getting through here.
Where do you go? Where do you go here? You got visor, you got your cooldowns, you have the map is kind of opening up. Where do you go?
My first thought, and I think what I did was I went left, but looking at it now and taking a second, I definitely want to go right. It's so much better, because I actually, yeah, that's what happened. I went left and I got shut down. I got no value. But if I would have went right, the team's already pushing left.
And as long as there's cover there, right?
Yeah.
You also preemptively visor without actually even knowing what's there.
Right.
So just take the. I actually think the position that you took was probably honestly fine. Because you could just keep rotating, right?
Right.
Just don't pop your visor immediately.
Okay.
Know what you're visoring. Because you guys are getting free cart push, or you should be, right? You got all the high ground. It's beautiful. But yeah, okay. Okay. We're chilling. Beautiful. Get off the cart, get off the cart, get off the cart, get off the cart, get off the cart.
Yeah.
This is not utilizing your legs well.
Okay.
It's like putting Usain Bolt in a treadmill. You know what I'm saying? It's not exactly a great combo of your strengths. I mean, look at this. Like, you dodged EMP, you dodged Flux, and you killed the Mercy because you were off guard.
Yeah, it's like using like the wrong formula, but like still getting the right answer. Like, that's not why I was thinking to do it, but like that was the consequence of doing it. So.
Well, why did you do it then? Why did you do it?
Well, I did it just because I wanted to like see more people, and I couldn't see people. So my thought
So
was,
sure,
like, oh,
sure, that's a good
see more
decision.
people. Yeah.
So you're chastising yourself for not tracking ultimates, but really just taking good position so that you could actually just shoot people is perfectly reasonable. That's probably the most important thing to do, like with Soldier, because how many times should you reposition when you're worried about ultimates? Vast minority of the time. How many times should you reposition so that you have a good sightline or that you have a good angle? The vast majority of the time. So you did position for the right reason.
Okay.
You just also got the bonus. You also got the bonus benefits as well, right? Which is going to happen, So the thing is, if you'd been repositioning so that you could see people or take an angle or whatever, in the 5 fights previous to this, you guys would have capped 7 minutes ago,
Yeah.
So listen, I'm not gonna poo-poo a good thing, just because it wasn't ult tracking. I mean, come on, you took a good angle. It's good.
Yeah, okay. So like in a situation like this, I'm just chilling, like waiting for the next fight. Should I be like just getting a better angle? Because this is, I mean, like nothing, right?
Well, it seems like your Winston wants to play very aggressively, right? Which we can question, right? But your Hanzo, as opposed to you, has gone, okay, I guess we're holding close. You are still hesitating.
Right.
Now, I think your Winston's stupid, personally, respectfully. You're honest on cart. You guys probably aren't going to be able to win this. But okay, 4 of your team is pushed up, or 3 of your team, make it 4, right? And then this is the Soldier dive, where you're very much wanting to hold an angle and just spam. You don't need to. Walk up to here. Walk up to here, right? And hide. Look for a burst kill when they walk out of the choke. And then if things go south, run away.
Right.
You're playing Soldier almost like you got concrete boots on, right? Where it's like, I have to stay here. I have to hold the sight line and spam and hold the sight line and spam and hold the sight line and spam. But in reality, like, pick left or right. Pick left or right.
And just commit.
Right. But seriously, pick left or right now. I want to show you something. Pick left or right.
Oh, I want to say right, but I'd be worried that, like, without like seeing where everyone is, that they'd just be underneath me, and I feel like that's not very good. So, but Hanzo's already left, so I guess right.
Okay, so we go right. Let's see what we get from here. See the Sombra?
Okay, yeah.
See that Ashe walking out right there? Ooh, Winston's actually shooting the Ashe at the same time.
Yeah,
150 HP. 1 bullet and a Helix. Sayonara,
Yeah.
2 bullets, I guess, technically, but okay, whatever. Better than the position we're at right now, right?
Yeah.
And the funny thing is you still get found by Sombra. Nice. Oh, this character. Oh dear. Yeah, it's not nice to bully people.
Well, I feel like I've been burst down by Sombra and her.
Yeah. But that's we're ignoring those times. That didn't happen. Fake news. All right, let's keep going here. Any questions so far?
No, I mean, you've answered pretty much like the question I've been like asking myself for like months. Because like when I sat back there, like I'd ask myself this, anytime I ever did anything like that, like, is this what I should be doing? Like, is this getting like what do I do? I think I'm worried about, like, not that I definitely, like, I'm not playing for stats and like, but I guess I'm playing for my life. Like I don't want to like I don't want to die just needlessly, so I think
Of
that keeps
course,
me back sometimes.
of
But
course.
I don't know.
Well, you're gonna need to like experiment with this a little bit, right? You're gonna push forward, go for these soldier dives, and then you're gonna get 3, 2, 1 by the enemy Winston Trace and go, oh,
Yeah.
right? Or you're gonna get isolated from your supports and die to like the enemy. I don't know, Reaper or whatever. There's gonna be
Right.
mistakes here to be made, and you're gonna have to learn how to manage your cooldowns and know how to win 1v1s and learn how to time it properly with your team. But I do feel that your angle positioning is only focused on holding a sight line, almost like an Ash or a Widowmaker, and just spam, 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 spam. You're never thinking about taking these like explosive quick burst plays and then rotating away. Because if you get focused down, you run away. I mean, that's the irony with a heal station is more often than not when you get focused, you really don't heal, you run. And I think that's something you want to need to try to leverage a little bit more. Because even here, you kind of have the right idea, right?
Right.
I don't know what was going through your brain right here. I'm curious why you're choosing to do it now. Is it because this position just felt terrible?
Um. So like, why I'm choosing to like sit where I am right now?
Yeah, why? Because this is a soldier dive coming up soon, right? So why
Yeah.
now?
Well, yeah, because I've sat in on cart several times at this exact like point, and I can't shoot anything. So I go up here so I
Sure,
can see people,
but I respect it.
um,
I respect that,
and
right?
that's why. Yeah.
Yeah, I respect that. I appreciate you going. This is not a good position for me, so I have to be a little bit creative. Now apply that in more circumstances where you feel the exact same way.
Right.
And value.
Right.
Look at that. Look at her supports. They are pressing nothing but S. Look at the Spore Reinhardt and
Yeah.
Pylon and a great visor. I mean, it's not much more to say.
Right.
Carry the fight, both in an indirect and direct value. Like you just deadlifted it. And obviously, it's easier to see the value because hey, high ground, hey, shot squishies, great job. But even if they'd immediately focused you down and you were only able to kill Pylon, still that Reinhardt would have died based off of your efforts. And now you could just chill. Again, where you could just use your helix, it's fine.
Right.
That it's totally fine.
Okay.
Yeah, that's mostly it. Okay, so notes. Soldier 76. We got to practice.
What was that a question? I didn't.
Yeah, sure. Sorry. My mic might have cut out. What do you have to
Okay.
practice?
So definitely, kind of the big thing, soldier dive, but like in particular, I need to be thinking like in bursts and not like anchoring down or like you said, like concrete on my feet.
Mhm.
So I need to think in like bursts and reposition quickly, which makes sense. Like I've heard it before, but I guess until you said it, it didn't really click. So
Sure. What makes this soldier dive work? What do you rely off of? Two things. I guess three
because
technically, but
I can quickly quickly engage and disengage because of his sprint.
Mhm.
The
Angle?
helix,
Helix?
yeah, the helix like allows for like high damage, and then yeah, like angle of the
Mhm.
wherever I go.
And one more macro thing, the timing. Right?
Timing, right?
Because anytime you go for a higher risk, higher reward play, you need some sort of a distraction to enable it. Otherwise, you're going to get cleared instantly.
Right.
Okay. I think we could also throw in like healing station and cover and play your, but those things are pretty obvious, right? I think for you,
Right,
it's just keep an eye on that. Keep an eye on that helix. Okay. Any questions?
No, this is perfect. This is exactly what I
glad.
wanted out of this session. I'm so glad I was able to keep it because
Well, I'm glad.
this answers it.
I'm glad. Well, good luck